congratulating his former UK counterpart Boris Johnson on becoming the Prime Minister-designate. Iran's Foreign Minister Javad Zarif said that Tehran was not looking for confrontation.
We have 1,500 miles of coastline in the Persian Gulf. We are responsible for the security and freedom of navigation in the Persian Gulf. That is our lifeline, and it is much, much better for the United Kingdom not to be engaged in implementing the ploys of the B team. The B team is losing ground in the United States, and now they're turning their attention to the United Kingdom. I guess the same policies that failed in the US will fail in the United Kingdom.
And we have our correspondent Oli Barat joining us live from London. Oli, a new Prime Minister and a new problem for the United Kingdom.
Well, the new Prime Minister will happen on Wednesday. Theresa May will hold her final Prime Minister's questions on Wednesday, at which point she will go to the Queen and she will hand in her resignation. Then Boris Johnson, we expect, will travel to Buckingham Palace to be asked by the Queen to form a new government. So it'll be Wednesday UK time that we see a new Prime Minister, and he has a huge to-do list. Clearly, Boris Johnson needs to try and sort out the Brexit process, but there are other issues on the agenda as well. That standoff with Iran, the crisis in the Gulf, but domestic issues beyond that as well, from the economy to healthcare to trying to end a period of austerity that Britain has been going through since the financial crisis, trying to kickstart a slowing economy. So a very difficult task ahead for Boris Johnson.
Very difficult task ahead for Boris Johnson, but the victory was, in a sense, preempted. He was always going to win. It was a matter of time and a matter of how much the margin was.
Yeah, and the margin's important because we did, as you say, expect that Boris Johnson would win, and the reason for that is that he's very popular with the membership of the Conservative Party, and it's those members who have been voting in this process. So once Boris Johnson got through to the final two with the Foreign Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, we knew that Boris Johnson stood a very good chance indeed, and so today, in a sense, has been about looking at that margin of victory. He did want to make sure that he won by some distance, and he took home 66% of the vote compared to Jeremy Hunt's 34. That is a pretty wide margin of victory, and it's important because it allows Boris Johnson to show his own MPs that it was a pretty convincing victory, that the party's membership are right behind him. So those MPs in the Conservative Party who aren't necessarily Boris Johnson's supporters or backers, he will be able to say to them, you may not like me necessarily or even some of my policies, but the party's members want us to work together to deliver Brexit and to deliver on other items on the Conservative Party's agenda.
And even as Boris Johnson becomes Prime Minister, there has been a stream of resignations, many who just refuse to work with him.
Yeah, that's right, or at least refuse to serve him in cabinet. Some of them have been resigning while expressing their support for Boris Johnson's premiership, but you have people like Rory Stewart resigning from the Department for International Development, saying he's doing so because he can't back Boris Johnson in the sense that he says a no-deal Brexit may be the way that Britain has to leave the European Union on October the 31st. And that idea of a no-deal Brexit scenario is going to be one of the crucial flashpoints to watch over the coming months, because Boris Johnson says if he can't get an improved deal off the European Union, then Britain will leave without a deal. And many of his own MPs are saying if it gets to that point, some of them may even consider voting down the government to make sure that no-deal Brexit can be avoided. So a precarious position that Boris Johnson finds himself in, with hardly at all a working majority in Parliament, and several of his own MPs saying they'd be minded to vote his government down if he heads towards no deal.
Oli Barat joining us live with an update from London. Thank you, Oli, for being with us here on WION Dispatch.